Welcome, everybody, to the CNC with Dave Gatton show. We're running a little slim tonight. We've got Mr. Jim Senecola in the house.
No.
We've got my favorite Canadian, Trevor Carter.
Hello.
I think he's got a couple of things he'll show us here in a little bit. First off, I want to remind everybody that we're doing the license plate guitar giveaway next week. Going to be giving this one away, which also, if you want a different plate, we can swap the plate out. You can, if you're from, I don't know, someplace where I got a plate, you can pick one out off my website there, and I can swap it out for you. And I thought I'd tell people too, as of right now, like I said, we're only, we're going to do it next week. So we're only like 7 days away from the drawing, and I only have about half as many entries as I had last time. So the odds are pretty good right now. I think there's about 42 or 43 entries so far. And I think we had 96 or 98 or something like that last time. So anyway, the odds are pretty good. I guess, can everybody hear me okay? I didn't even do a sound check earlier, I guess.
Hey, Dave?
Yes.
I'm running the YouTube, and it says an error occurred. Playback. I don't see anything on the normal.
Oh, well, I got mine running and it's still showing it. So you may just have to refresh yours or go in and come back or something.
Oh, okay.
Because mine, I got the laptop over here where I can see the chat, and it's still running. Chat's still running. In fact, I'll do a quick shout out here. We've got Jim, somebody, I don't know, all it says is Jim. We got Eugene Nolan, Mike Haichu, Woodshop Dog, that's Steve Atkins, Ron Godot, Wood Bucket, that's Gary Brady, I think. I'm pretty sure that's Gary Brady. Greg Euler. I hope I said your name right, Greg. Kevin Wilkinson. Don Puckett's in the house. Landis Stoots, Richard Kowalski, Steve from Harnell Media, Charles Steed, David Mitchell, the one from Kentucky. I have another David Mitchell that watches sometime that's from state of Washington, but we got the one from Kentucky tonight. Andrew Adzit is here, Rob Hampton, Larry Duggar. Hello from Seattle, Georgia. Skip Evans, Benji Long, that's James Long, I believe. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. And we already got some thumbs up. That's awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Aries Place. Not sure who that is, but anyhow, so yeah, make sure if you'd like to win the license plate guitar, make sure you go get an entry in. We'll be doing that sometime during next week's show on July 20th. And also, I did remember, finally, I'm so forgetful sometimes, but I did remember, if you go to right below the video screen and click that show more where it drops down all that good stuff, you will see a link where it says enter the license plate giveaway, and you just click on that link and it'll take you straight to that thing. I've been bad about forgetting to put that on there, but it's on there now. Okay. Yes, on Facebook, yeah. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about, or I wanted to show, is I got some pictures. Anytime somebody makes something cool and you want to send the pictures, it doesn't have to be a special show where I ask for them. You can send them anytime. And if anybody sends me some, I will show them. But I got some photos from my buddy Carl, and I don't know, I don't see Carl. Are you out there in the chat tonight? I want to go ahead and show his pictures. Let me see if I can get him up here, and then I'll do a screen share.
I don't see him in the chat, Dave.
Yeah, I haven't seen him out there yet. He may not. I think he usually joins a little ways into the show, but I'll go ahead and show him. And then if he shows up, I'll tell him that he'll have to go back and watch the beginning of the show. Okay, so I've got, let me do a little screen share thing here. Let's see, let me present, screen share. And okay, y'all can see my screen, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, all these others I've already shown. These are all the patriotic photos that everybody was sending me the other week. But Carl sent me some, and I thought, well, since he took the time to send them to me, I will take the time to show them. So here's a flag, and I was hoping if he pops in later, we may go back over these, and so he can explain, tell us how we did them. Because I'm not sure how he's doing those. Okay, so there's that one. Here's another view of the same flag, it looks like. And then here's, well, I guess this was an in-process shot of a plaque he was doing.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Oops. Let me see if I can get that thing a little bigger where everybody can see it. Well, come on, Dave. There we go. So yeah, that he did a nice job on that. And like I said, since he sent me the pictures, I wanted to make sure I got them in and showed them. So once again, folks, anytime you got a cool project, and it doesn't have to be flags. I mean, that was kind of the July 4th thing. But, any kind of project you do, if you want to show it off, you'd make something you're proud of, send it to me, and I'll be happy to help you show it off here. So, all righty. Also, I finally this week got around to doing that video for, after I did the video where my Gatton CNC cut this aluminum, right after that, I had people say, well, are you going to do a video showing the garage work cutting aluminum? Well, I finally got around to doing that. And this, I call this thing a gear, but it's almost more like a sprocket, but it probably wouldn't fit anything because I just kind of drew it up in a hurry and didn't really try to get any kind of pitch dimensions or anything like that. It's just something I made up. But the little old Garage Works, I used my 36 by 24 Garage Works. It cut it without any problem. It's 1/4 inch 60/61. I use that same old raggedy 1/8 inch upcut bit that I used, to cut all this other aluminum. But it came out pretty good. No chatter marks, no anything. It's nice and clean. Came out really well. So, like I said, when people ask me, well, will that machine cut aluminum or will this machine cut aluminum? Pretty much any of them will if you know what you're doing. If you're not, you got to remember it's a router and not a mill. Mills are much heavier, and that's what they're made for, is milling metal. A router will do it. You just have to take baby bites, I guess. Mark Lindsay's in the house. How you doing, Mark? Since I'm seeing you right there now, before sometimes you cut out and go eat dinner. Tell us what's on the menu for Sunday morning. What am I going to be watching while I drink my coffee? That's my Sunday morning routine. I get a cup of coffee, and sit down in my recliner and kick back and watch Mark Lindsay CNC on my 65-inch TV. So, we'll see if he comes up with it. How many passes did I do? This is 1/4 inch thick, and I had it cutting 10 thousandths per pass, and then I had it go an extra 10, so it went a total of 26 passes. And the whole thing took, holes and all, everything took less than 40 minutes. And I did have to stop it. You didn't see it in the video because I didn't show that part, but I let it start doing the profile. And then when it got down to where there wasn't nothing but maybe about 100 thousandths left, I paused it and moved the router out of the way. And then that's why I put some of these holes in there. I took a couple of wood screws with washers, and screwed it down. That way I could, when it finished it all out, I could just pick it up and be done. It wouldn't fly out of there. So, but yeah, about 35, 40 minutes, 40 inches a minute, on the feed, 10 thousandths depth of cut, and a raggedy old upcut spiral. All righty, Mark Lindsay says, my first all Aspire video, 2-rail sweep in bait components. Okay, cool. I look forward to that. And if y'all, I don't know how y'all watch videos. Maybe some of you watch them on a computer or something like that. Hopefully you're not watching them on your phone. But man, if you got a bigger screen TV, that's the way to watch these videos, because you can I can sit there and not even wear my glasses, and I can see where Mark's, when he takes that mouse and moves it over, I can see exactly what he's clicking on. It's like I'm looking over his shoulder or something. So that's the way to watch YouTube videos. I spend many an hour in my butt sitting in that recliner watching YouTube videos. Carl Whitaker in the house. Carl, buddy, we just showed your photos. I don't know if you were here yet, but you sent me those photos of the flag and stuff. And so anyway, you may want to go catch the beginning of this. And if you would, when I was showing the flag, is there anything special that you want to say about the flag, like what it was made out of, or how you did it, or what your finishing technique was, or anything? If you would, put that in the chat, and they can read it, and then I'll pass it on to everybody else. Jesse Mark says, I got to say, 3D modeling is much easier than V-carving. It's easier to draw the vectors anyway. Yeah. Now, I'm not, me, I'm not an Aspire guy, but when I was learning SolidWorks many years ago, when, the company I worked for, they got it and we installed it. And, of course, when a company buys it, I think he was buying like 3 seats of it. So we had about 2 months or so before we could go for the training, because when you buy a seat of SolidWorks, you get, you can sign up for these classes. And the first one is just called Solidworks Essentials, and it's basically just showing you how to get around the software. But anyway, we had it for like a month or so before before the next training class in Atlanta came around. So the bad thing is that was just enough time to learn how to do everything the wrong way, because we're trying to figure out stuff on our own. And then I go to that class, and the instructor starts doing this and this and this. And I'm like, oh man, I've been doing this wrong all the time. I mean, I was getting the same result, but it was a whole lot easier the way they did it. So, but later on down the road, when I went and took the sheet metal components and welding class, I'd already been using SolidWorks for probably 2 or 3 years. And and that class come around or something, and my boss said, well, you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, if you want to send me to it, I'll go. And that guy, I just about had to tell him how to do things. So I don't know. He wasn't a, what's the word? I'm trying to be nice here. He wasn't a hands-on type person. In other words, you could tell he never worked in a shop. He'd always been behind the desk in drawing stand. That's what I've always told people, whether it be SolidWorks or AutoCAD or Aspire or whatever, just because you can draw it may not mean you can manufacture it that way. You know, when you're talking about press brakes and stuff like that, different kinds of sheet metal components, you have to have that shop experience to know what'll work and what won't work. Was he certified? Yeah, he was certified, but you know how it is. They just, and even in the manuals, I've still got my old SolidWorks manuals around here somewhere, and I can show you where you can find stuff where they show you how to make and now this is for sheet metal now, they show you how to make a 4-sided component, and you start out with a base flange, and then you pull 2 edge flanges up, and then then you can actually pull a 4th side over, but you can't form it on a press brake like that. You can't get in there. You always have to make stuff 3 sides and a top. It's got to be more than one piece. Mm-hmm. Unless you're running some kind of fancy folding machine or something that's got special tooling. But for the average shop, you can't do that. And this guy, that's what I mean. That guy was showing us how to do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. You can do it in SolidWorks, but you can't do it in the real world. He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, well, how are you going to get press brake tooling in there? He's like, oh, yeah, that won't work. So anyway, enough about that. Yeah. That's why I always joke about engineers. I don't want to piss anybody off because I know there's probably some out there in the chat right now, but well, that's enough about that. I won't even talk about that. How about a box brake? Yeah, there's only thing. I've got a little box brake. It's a little 2-foot one. And same thing, you cannot bend just anything. You got to be able to get the tooling in there. And then when you get it bent, you got to be able to get it out. So anyhow, how do we get off on fabrication stuff? Anyway, Patrick's Workshop in the house. Klondike, Dave Matthews. How you doing, Dave? Kevin Wilkerson. I don't know. I guess I may have already named him. All right. So, yeah. So if you've got a Garage Works or a Gatton, I think we've now squashed the myth, about the aluminum. It can do aluminum, which I knew it would anyway, but I figured I didn't really want to do that video, but I knew if I didn't do it, people would say, well, he ain't going to do it because a Gatton or Garage Works won't do it. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to do it. Just shut everybody up, I guess. But yeah, it'll run it just fine. Just not, like I said, just like any router, it ain't going to run it very fast because that's not what it's made to do. Mark Lindsay says Trevor's posting some killer work lately, and since he brought that up, let me. You know what? I've got this stupid thing locked on me. I bet. No, I guess I don't. Trevor, why don't you show us what you got behind you there?
All right. Here's number 1. 1-inch thick piece of red oak.
Wow, 1 inch thick.
Yeah, good solid stuff. Nice and heavy.
Yeah, I'll bet. How did that how did that carve?
Really well. I was actually quite surprised, but then again, I'm so used to working with pine that it's I'd be the wrong one to really ask.
Okay.
But I mean, a brand new Freud bit and no problem. I think I ran it at like 80 inches a minute. Just let it go.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's number one. That one there's still drying. And then I got this one here I just finished today. These are both for the same people.
Tides in at 17 sunshine. Ooh, I like that. I really like that one. Now, is that pine there, or is
that's just a piece of pine stained early American, and then once again, same bit, just a 1/8 end mill in the 60 degree.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure probably sometime, because I've known you, Trevor, for quite a while now, and I'm sure I probably asked you this before, but where you live in New Brunswick, so where does a Canadian woodworking CNC guy like you get your material? I mean, do you guys have Home Depot or Lowe's, or what do you have up there?
We got a Home Depot, and then we've got another one. It's called Kent. It's kind of like a Lowe's. They're done by the Irvings and stuff here, which are, the big wood guys here in New Brunswick. As far as pine goes, I mean, pine here is like, it can be super expensive, but you could also get it dirt cheap. If you buy the, what they call shelving pine, I can get a 1x12 6-foot piece of that for, right around $450. If I go to the clear pine, like the real good stuff, I'm looking at probably $26 for the same size piece. So what we do is we go in and we'll buy like a, say $150 worth. We'll pick through what we want. And then when we get home, if I got to cut a foot off to be able to get a good 2-foot piece with no knots, so be it. You're paying so little for the wood, right? Hardwood is killer expensive. That piece of red oak, that wound up being 30 inches long. It was a stair tread is what it was, and it had the rounded edge. So I had to run it through the table saw, square off one side, and then I ripped it down the middle and then put a strip inside, glue it all up to make it, that size.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, here at where I'm at, and I don't know, maybe the same for you too, Jim, I don't know, but, I have locally, or at least what I call close right here in McDonough, we have a Lowe's and a Home Depot, but you don't have a lot of choice. So, I can go get red oak, and I can go get poplar, and of course pine. And then with the pine, they have what they call select pine, and that's the real pretty stuff that that has hardly any knots, usually no knots.
Yeah.
If it does have one, it's so tiny, and you it's only on one side or something. But then they have the other stuff that's like shelf board type stuff, and it's like a knot every 1.5 feet or so.
Yeah.
So, but it's cheap, if you're just going to use it for, whatever. But but for me to go get something really nice, like some maple or mahogany, cherry, that kind of thing. I've got to go to a regular lumber yard, and there's not one really very close to me. There's one south of me, and there's one or a couple north of me, and both of them are a good 45 minutes to an hour away. And the one north, Sewanee, is where I usually go, but you're driving up through Atlanta traffic and stuff, and I'd rather take a beating than drive.
We've got a couple of those type of places around here, like a full-blown lumber mill. Some of the stuff in there is a little bit cheaper than going to, say, Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that. But for the most part, the stair tread, or, find something else that they're selling cheap at those big box stores and kind of make it into whatever it is that you want to make it into from there.
Well, I guess we got lucky because here in Michigan, I can get all kinds of hardwoods. 3 different types of maple: curly maple, bird's eye maple, walnut, butternut. I mean, we can get it all, and it's very reasonably priced.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not reasonably priced here. 1x6x8 of maple, just regular old maple, is $95 here.
Oh,
Wow. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I was hoping to have it done today, but I had an issue with a clamp that messed me up, so I had to restain and respray some lacquer on something. But I don't ask me why, but I had a pallet the other day. I know that's a dirty word for a lot of folks, but I get pallets all the time because when I get my parts, back from the powder cutters, they're always on a pallet, and I take them, I get them emptied off, I throw them over on this trailer I have over there, and after a while, when I get a few of them, I'm like, well, I need to either burn them up or whatever. So I got to looking at this one, and I'm like, I don't know, this looks like it's all oak. So I spent one day tearing it apart, and when I tear one apart, it takes me forever because I'm trying to be real careful and get the nails, I try to pull the boards up to get the head of the nail sticking up so then I can take the nail out because I don't want to split it any more than what it is because I'm looking for some decent lengths. And anyway, when I make my fretboards, like when I go buy the little stuff from Lowe's or Home Depot, I usually cut my fretboards at a 19-inch blank. Well, these pallets, they're 48 by 40. So the way the runners go, that little part right in between where the nail holes are is about 19 and a half inches. So I was real careful to take it all apart. And I took apart, I think, 2 or 3 pallets. And then I spent the whole rest of the day running that stuff through my planer.
Mm-hmm.
And man, some of it, it is old pallet wood. You got that old gray patina, and then you run it through the planer, and it's cleaned off. Now, some of it may be pretty, some of it may not underneath. Some of it was just kind of plain looking oak. It almost looked like the same oak I could buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. But then other stuff just had some figure and stuff in it, and it just is, I like it. And you just got to take a lot of time to run it through the planer and get it squared up and all that. And especially when I'm making fretboard blanks, they're, 1.5 inches or 1 5/8 wide by down to about 1/4 inch. But yeah, it's I got some pretty good stuff out of that. That's just a lot of work. I'd rather just go someplace and buy a big chunk of something. But let's see what I'm missing over here in the chat. I saw Carl Whitaker. Yeah, there it is. He says American Distress Flag, pine strips, stained and torched, stars engraved, EGA flag, poplar spray painted, sanded back, finished with tongue oil. Yeah, well, they look good, Carl. And thank you for sending those in. Let's see if I'm missing anything. The select pine from Home Centers is kiln dried down to under 13%. The other kiln dried construction grade is dried to under 20. Well, I know one thing, Martin Lindsay, I've learned, because I go buy those 2x12s and then bring them, I get like an 8 or 10 footer, or well, it depends on where I'm getting them. I get 8 footers if I'm at Home Depot, but Lowe's doesn't have 8 foot. They've got 12 foot. So I'll buy a 12 footer over there, bring them home, cut them up into 16-inch lengths for a blank, and then that's what I've been cutting those bodies out of. Well, I learned one thing. Apparently, the ones at Home Depot are not dried as much as the ones from Lowe's, because the ones from Lowe's, most of the time, every once in a while, I'll get one that'll bow up. But most of the time, if it's flat, when I cut it into this and I stack them all, I got them in my dining room, as a matter of fact, they stay pretty flat, flat enough to use anyway. But the ones from Home Depot, they've especially when you haul all that meat out of the middle of them. And man, they end up almost looking like a bowl. Some of them, I mean, I can't even use them. I got to, because I cut that recess. Let's see if I got one. This one here. This is, I cut a recess around here, and then this is just 1/4-inch plywood, and I set that in there. Well, some of them, when I've used those ones from Home Depot, I cut the bodies, and I come back and I cut the plywood back, the back panel, and I even undersize them, sometimes a 1/16, 30 thou on each side. And after I bring them in the house and that body bows up, you can't even get that. If you stuck it in there, you can't get it out. And then if you haven't stuck it in there, you can't get it in. So, but I found the ones from Lowe's seem to be much, much better.
Now, does your guys' big box store keep a lot of that wood inside or outside?
Well, yeah, it's inside.
It's inside.
Yeah.
I find with where I've got 2 different places here, there's one that keeps it outside and one keeps it inside. If I go to the one that gets it inside, by the time I load it in my truck and get it home, I can make a bow and arrow out of it. The ones that are already outside and I keep them in my shop, they stay somewhat straight.
That's interesting. I noticed there's some conversation going on with somebody asked about Jeff Connor. I haven't seen him in the chat for quite a while, but I did see him, because I get notifications every time somebody does anything in any of those Facebook groups. I get a notification saying so-and-so liked this or so-and-so posted this or whatever. And I got something today that said Jeff Connor liked some post or whatever. So he's still around, but I haven't seen him in the chat for a while. And usually he was, pretty regular out there. Maybe his shift has changed or something. He's watching it later on. I don't know. Yeah, Frankie says if you go to Home Depot, get 16 footers. Yeah, see, I don't want a 16 footer because I'd have to cut it. See, a 12 footer, I can buy those, and I got an 8-foot bed on my truck, so there's not that much hanging out. But a 16 footer would.
That spruce actually does carve really nice. I did that for a tabletop a while ago back, and I ended up messing it up. So I ended up keeping it, and I went with another piece, but it carves super smooth. All that spruce and those 2x10s and stuff, I find they carve really nice.
Yeah, they do.
I thought it would be really splintery, like as it's going around, like say if your end mill was just even a little bit dull, I thought it would kind of go in and chunk out, big splinters, but it cuts super smooth.
I don't know. Let's see. MR, anything? Yeah, I guess y'all still talking about Jeff Connor. Like I said, I saw a notification that he liked or posted something. And that's the first time I've seen him active on. I've got his email. Larry, are you the one wanting his email? I can send you his email. All right. Well, let's see. What time is it here? We've been yakking about lumber and all kinds of stuff. Oh, are you talking about the Xylotex, Jeff? Oh, Barry is. Okay, Barry Curtis. Now I'm getting confused. Who's talking about who? All right. If anybody needs Jeff Connor's email, I can probably send that to you. Oh, you have his phone there. Larry's got his phone number. Okay, yeah. I got his phone number too. And I need him. I've been looking for him in the chat because he's always the one that comes and gets my hobby. There he is. I'm looking over in the thing. When did you sneak in?
Yeah, just now, Dave. Just now.
Okay. Well, I see you're at the old Home 20 there.
Yeah. Yep, just got in. Had to pick up my daughter earlier today. So
No worries, no worries. Glad you could join us. Now I forgot what I said. Oh, yeah, Jeff Connor's always the one that would come up here and get all my HTPE scraps. And I need to see if he wants it again. He has, I think, someplace at work where they can they have a grinder where you can put it in pellets. And but I got a ton of it again. It don't take long for me to get a bunch of it where it starts getting in my way. So if I don't get in touch with him or he don't want it, I need to find somebody that does, or find a place where I can recycle it here in McDonald. There's probably some place by the look like that.
well, if he doesn't want it, I can use it.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'd love to create some stuff with it.
Javi loves stuff.
Well, I know he loves stuff, but
I've got a couple ideas of stuff.
okay. All that, like I said, the kind of stuff I cut. It's all just the skeletons. I got a ton of it that's 1/4 inch that I cut those wedge templates out of, and most of it's that thick. And then every once in a while, when I cut spacer blocks, I'll have some 3/4 inch skeletons, and then I'll have some 1/2 inch skeletons when I'm doing the all the other little bearing mounts and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the shop more often and do a few CNC projects in between visits to the property, because I've been watching a lot of the projects that people do, and I've got an itch to get back in the shop. It's been a while. In fact, Steve Nealon was doing something pretty interesting with CNC and or laser. He's been taking these 3/4 inch Baltic birch pieces, and I got to see if I can pull one up to show you. And he would do the outline on laser, or likewise you could do a little pocket for the outline on a CNC. And he draws, with paints like you would color, and it kind of looks like it's a nice painting. It's a nice little cell image, but there's something about painting something. I know it takes a lot more work, but that just makes it more vibrant. He actually sells these on his page. He's been doing that lately. They look pretty fantastic.
Well, you'll take a look at that. I'm still confused over which Jeff they're talking about. Xylotex or Jeff Connor. I'm thinking they may have been talking about Jeff. What is his name? Jeff. I can't think of his last name now.
Xylotex Jeff.
Jeff from that Jeff. Anyway, yeah, you got to go through the website and contact him that way. Well, I mean, we've just been kind of shooting the breeze here. We've talked about where we get our crappy lumber, and of course the license plate giveaway. We talked about that, and I showed some photos that Carl Whitaker had sent me early.
Did anybody suggest the Advantage lumber?
Pollard. That's his last name, Pollard.
Did anyone suggest Advantage lumber for the lumber by any chance? There's for those of you who are doing little projects and you want little pieces, and I'm talking 5 or 6 samples of 4 foot by 4 foot or 6 inch. 4 inch by 4 inch or 6 inch by 6 inch. Go to advantagelumber.com and ask for a free sample. They do a lot of hardwoods and stuff. I mean, I'll be completely honest, I'm not interested in decking or anything like that, but they've got excellent quality wood, and they'll send you a sample kit. That sample kit, they include, for me, they included 5 or 6 different exotic woods, eBay, some Brazilian hardwoods, was really interesting. You could certainly make a lot of pen blanks out of them, or if you need something small for inlays or anything. I mean, it may be a one-time thing, but you put down your address, they send you a box with their information, and who knows? But it's free.
Free is free.
Free is free. That's okay. The only thing, what time is it again?
Larry says his original question was for Jeff Connor.
Yeah. I think he was asking about Jeff Connor at first, and then I don't know. Somehow we got the Jeffs mixed, or maybe I'm the only one that got the Jeffs mixed up because I'm not following the conversation over there close enough, I guess. But
Lindsay, when he said Jeff, Lindsay assumed it was Jeff from Xylotech. That's why. That's where the confusion was.
All right.
I'm reading back.
Anyhow. Anyway, I did a little poll. When did I put that up there? Yesterday, I think. Had you seen the poll I put up there, Javi? I know Jim Sinicola did and Trevor did.
Yep.
Well, let me pull it up now.
You know, sometimes I'll get curious about something and I'll try to do a poll mostly just for my own information and to help me learn some things about my customers. Probably the biggest thing I've learned about from these polls is that you can't really do polls on Facebook because people don't read what you put on there. I got people responding to the poll that don't even have a GarageWorks or a Gatton CNC, and I know one guy in particular doesn't even have a CNC period, and he's answering questions, and I'm like, well, that kind of skews the whole thing that I'm trying to get a grip on. But anyway, I still appreciate everybody that responded in the poll. And basically what my question was, and I'll ask it here because a lot of you guys, let's see, I see Barry Wilson, Scott Wilson out there. I call him Barry. I'll have your thing done probably tomorrow, but for sure Monday, I think. And he knows what I'm talking about. So, anywho, no problem, Rob. It's I just thought it was kind of funny because a lot of times I guess some people think when they say Gatton CNC, they just think that if it's any CNC that I've done, that it's a Gatton CNC. Well, I guess technically it could be, but when I say Gatton CNC, I'm just talking about one machine. One style of or one design of machine, and then the same way with the GarageWorks. And like I said, there's people that have responded to the thing and they don't have either one. They replied in the GarageWorks, and I'm like, I know you don't have one. What do you, And I thought I was being clear when I did the questions, the one I put in the Gatton CNC, every time I said CNC, I said Gatton CNC. I didn't say just CNC. But anyhow, it's all good. But what I was curious about, and you guys over there in the chat can kind of take this informal poll now, but what the original thing was, it says, I see a lot of fantastic projects posted here on the Facebook group that people make with their Gatton CNCs, and I did the same one that said garage CNCs. And I said, I'm curious to see how many people there are out there that have built a Gatton CNC or a GarageWorks CNC, and now that they've done that, they now have a business, even though it may be a little small business, selling the items they make with. I was just curious to know, because I know a lot of times people get, build one of these or get one thinking I'm just going to, pill around, make stuff for me and the wife and the kids and stuff like that. Well, the next thing you know, you make something for neighbor Bob, and, neighbor Bob shows, takes it to work and shows, his coworkers, and the next thing you know, you got a little business going. So that was my thought process. I was just trying to see how many folks are like that. And I'll give you the poll results as I have them printed out here. But like I said, they're kind of skewed because just because some people can't resist a poll, I guess, whether they really got anything to do with it or not. But one of the four choices were, I'm just a hobby Gatton CNC user, or like I said, one for the Garage Works too. Another choice was, I want to start a business with the help of my Gatton CNC. The third one was, I already had a business before I built my Gatton CNC. And then the final one was, building my Gatton CNC helped me start a business. Okay, so we'll go with the Gatton CNC first. It overwhelmingly was just a hobby for most people. I had like 33 people that said it's just a hobby for them. But
Yep.
Like you said, as I look through there's several people in that 33 that don't have a Gatton CNC. They got some other kind of CNC. But still, that number was high enough that by the time I knocked them out, it still would have been the main answer. The ones that say they wanted to start a business with their Gatton CNC was 16, so about half of the other one. I already had a business before I built my Gatton CNC. About 15 people said that. And then building my Gatton CNC helped me start a business. There was 4 people that said that. So, and then on the Garage Works side, it was even crazier over there, because the top answer was, it was over there, the Garage Works, like I said, for the Gatton, it was the majority said it was just a hobby. But for the Garage Works, the top answer was, I want to start a business with the help of my Garage Works CNC. There was 9 of those. The hobby was second with 8 votes for that. I already had a business before I built my Garage Works CNC. There was 4 people that voted on that. And then there was only one that said that building their Garage Works CNC helped them start a business. So interesting things. Like I said, it was all just for my curiosity. But like I said, the biggest thing I've learned is that when you do a poll on Facebook, you get all kinds of crazy answers because people don't take the time to read it word for word and go, oh yeah, well I don't even have that, so I don't need to vote on that. Because we do have, we've got, what do we got? 900 and, I don't know, about 930 maybe members in the Gatton CNC, but not all of those people have a Gatton CNC. That's why when I did this poll, I specifically put Gatton CNC, because that's what I was looking for. And the same thing in the Garage Works. We've got in that Facebook group, I think there's about 650, I think, I don't know, I can't remember, 600 and some. And again, not everybody there has a Garage Works. I don't, my groups, and I've said this a lot, I know, my groups are pretty specific to the type of CNC. Mine are, I didn't want to be an administrator over a what I call a general CNC group or whatever, where you let every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got a, rickety home build, and another guy's got a, $10,000 Laguna or what, those kind of groups. There's plenty of those out there. And I can tell you right now, I ain't in none of them, because you get too many egos, experts and all that kind of stuff. And I don't hang around those. That's why I wanted mine, where people come to my group, they're gonna learn and find out about Gatton CNCs if they're in that group. If they're in the other one, they're going to find out about GarageWorks CNCs. And if they want to know about an X-Carve, they can go somewhere else and find out about an X-Carve, because I'm not all about X-Carves. I don't care about X-Carves. I only care about the Gatton in my group and the GarageWorks in the other group. So I know some people think that's probably being picky or whatever, but I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You go to Facebook and search, just put in CNC. You don't even have to put anything else. Just put CNC and search. There's a gazillion different groups. So if you want to be one of those that's in where they let everybody in no matter what they got, there's plenty of places for you to go. I'm not going to apologize for being picky on who I let in my groups.
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, I'm also part of aside from the Gatton CNC, before I even got it, I got the Cam Master for completely different reasons, and I'm in that particular group, and it's very similar in the sense that it's centric around its own CNC. I mean, I haven't posted anything in the other group because the beauty of this group, the advantage is that it's not just how to fix something that goes wrong or what should I do. It has that, but it also has how to actually build, how to design the CNC, all about the more about the technical aspect. I would say even 50-50. It's half of it is what kind of projects would you do with the CNC, and come show them off and show off the CNC while you're at it.
Yep.
And what kind of well, at least for the Gatton CNC, what does your Gatton CNC look like? What did you add to it? How do you like it? And it's the hobbyist aspect of it, which I'm in love with.
Yeah. Well, when I created those groups, I thought about calling them the Gattons, because a lot of these places they'll say such and such user group, and I thought about putting it, and I'm like, nah, I want to just keep it simple, because I don't want people to think they have to have one, to join the group. But, it's a place for them to come. I send people over there all the time, because I kind of use that as a tool for my business. If I get people asking me, well, what will this Gatton do? Will it do this and do that? I always tell them, I can sit here and tell you what it'll do, but you might think, he's just trying to sell me one, because I'm the one that sells them. So I always send them to the group and suggest they go join the group and throw a question out there. I said, people, then you'll get that's who you need to ask, the people that use them besides me. Because I'm going to say they're great. But the people that have built them and use them every day, people like Jerry Brown, I saw him out there.
People like Trevor there.
Trevor. Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. You can post a question in one of those Facebook groups, and usually before I even see it, 5 or 6 other people have chimed in and, answered or help answer a question, or at least give them their opinion about the thing. But that's what these groups are for. They're for you guys too, but they're also to help me get people to, because I don't want to spend all my time answering emails going, well, yeah, the Gatton CNC is great. It'll do this, it'll do that, do that, blah, 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 blah. Because I wouldn't believe it if I was, if I go ask somebody from Laguna, well, tell me what's great about your machine. They probably go on for hours. And that don't mean it's not a great machine, but it's like, yeah, they're trying to sell them. So of course they're going to say it's great. You need to go ask somebody that uses one and has bought one. Somebody spent their hard-earned money to make one or build one or buy one, whichever the case may be. Jerry says, we try to help. He says he's put some serious money. See, that's why I like when I see Jerry helping out answering, because I know he knows because he has put, he's probably got close to as many miles as I got on mine as he does, because he keeps his going all the time too. So, yeah, but anyway, that's why I'm real particular. If somebody else, if somebody joins the group and they say, well, I got a blankety blank, I'm not even going to name a brand, but they say, well, I got a blank machine, but I'm thinking about getting something different. That's fine. Come on in the group, ask questions, get opinions from other people. That's what that group's for. But what it ain't for posting pictures of your blank machine. You go do that in the other group. That's not what my groups are for. So
Right.
I know some people get mad. I've had them message me and go, well, why'd you delete my post? I'm like, well, maybe you missed the thing when you signed up, but this is about Gatton CNCs or, whichever the one might be. You want to post about an X-carb, you go to the X-carb group. We don't need no X-carbs and whatever. And I'm not picking on X-carb. I'm just saying that because that's one that's pretty common. But anyway, and another thing too is a lot of people I know that don't have either one of my machines, but they like that group because as far as the other questions about Vectric, I mean, my God, we got Mark Lindsay in our group, on both the groups. So, there's not a Vectric question that ain't going to get answered for sure. Plus a lot of other knowledgeable folks too. Stuff about Mach 3 or Linux or, UC CNC. I mean, that's the neat thing about my machines is it's the same machine, but it could be, mine and I'm trying to find somebody I can pick on here, but, somebody that's running Linux or somebody, maybe the same machine, but the way it runs or set up is totally different, but there's always somebody available to help. Rob Schuster says X-carb is easy to pick on. Yeah, they're probably one of my favorites to pick on. Anyhow, and see, Rob, speaking of Rob Schuster, so he's the one you want to ask about Linux CNC because he's about that. There's a couple other ones out there, I think.
Who's the gentleman that had the or am I thinking of when we were in the 3D printing stage that had the Raspberry Pi that was running it?
Oh, that's Ryan Ballard.
Ryan Ballard.
He came out in the chat, but yeah, and he actually has created a group. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. It's something Raspberry Pi. In fact, I'm in it, but that's one of those groups where I'm in, but I'm not going to post anything because I don't know anything about them. I know enough to not try to butt in if I don't know anything.
Right.
I need to just keep my mouth shut. So, but I joined because I hope to play around with those one day, and I'll let those guys get all the bugs worked out, and then I'll get it figured out. But anyhow. So like I said, I know there's probably some folks that don't like the way I run the groups, but sorry, I'm not going to apologize for being kind of picky. I think that's what, I've had a lot of people say somebody sent me a group, something the other day and said, yeah, that's the best group. You're talking about the Gatton CNC group. And I think that's why it is good, is because we don't let just any knucklehead in there.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that. Yeah. So
I'm trying to pull up some Gatton CNC pictures from mine.
Yeah, I would like to. We're always getting people to send in pictures of the project, and I love those. So by all means send those in too. But I would love to get people that, especially the newer ones. Now some of the guys have already done it. We've already show pictures of their machines. But I would love to show off pictures, do a show where we're showing off pictures of the machines, because some of these guys, man, they put fancy paint jobs on them. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I probably got the ugliest Gatton CNC there is, because everybody that builds one, it looks better than mine. Mine's on that hodgepodge old Sidewinder frame. That's that yucky green, and I stained most of it. And then when I put the couple last pieces on, I thought I'll come back stain them later, and I never did. So, and there's other things I've done where I just kind of threw it together quick to get it to work, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll come back later and make that look a little nicer, and as long as it runs, I don't touch it. So something has to just about break before I'll fix it. But anyhow, yeah. So if anybody wants to do that, especially you new guys, I know there's a bunch of new guys that should. You may not have it completely built, but when you get it built, send pictures of your machine. I'd love to show those off. Because not everybody does. You think, well, it's a Gatton CNC, they'd all look the same. No, they all look different.
No, I think almost everyone that I've seen so far looks completely different.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got a pretty slick one yourself right there behind you there, Trevor, with that fancy cabinet and all that you made.
I even thought of painting mine back then, but I'm definitely not a painter. So, the guys that can paint them and sit and take the time to design all that, definitely kudos to you guys and girls out there, because those things look fantastic.
Yeah. What's his name? Oh, crap. I'm drawing a blank now. Yeah, y'all help me. The guy that's got the
red and black one?
Yeah, the red and black one. Robert Smith, I think is his name. No wonder I couldn't think of it. It was a hard name. Smith, I think is his name. If he doesn't have the nicest looking one, he's got one of the nicest looking ones, because it's got that two-tone red and black right on the front of the game. That thing is beautiful.
Andrew Hague is another one. I don't think he painted his, but he has a really nice looking machine.
Well, he did all those fancy carvings where he's, got the X and Y, telling which way to go, and some other stuff on there. So yeah, they've really.
Jerry's got a disco ball.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard to top.
That's near impossible.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a bunch of different paint jobs, and Mark Lindsay's got a pretty slick one. The paint, because he's got like a blue, what is it, mark blue and gray or something, I think, that looks really good.
I think it was
light blue.
I think it was weathered gray and the light blue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good looking machine. Like I said, I hate to even show mine, and of course I did that Facebook Live the other day and showed you all my spaghetti wires, the way I've got that run. But it's always one of those things where I'm like, well, let me just hook this up like this, just leave the wires going every which way, get it working, and then I'll come back and I'll straighten it all out. And I don't know why I tell myself that. I know I'm not going to go back and straighten it out. As long as it works, I let it run. I got stuff to do, so I'm going to cut it. So I've never been a neat freak anyway. I'm lucky enough that I've even put it in the drag chain. I finally started doing that on my machines. I used to just let it flop around everywhere. Of course, I didn't have that big of machines back then. So, Minwax weathered gray, Rust-Oleum deep blue lettering, and satin pop. Yeah.
I can't find my vertical CNC. On my own YouTube channel, like I'm looking for a picture of my tape.
Well, it's been a while. You got to go pretty far back, don't you?
Yeah.
January of 18. But
you got a ton of make room for hobbies on there now.
I know. I went back beyond them, but I don't know. I've got so many different colors for the for the different subjects on my page that it's
Yeah.
confusing to me. It's time to lean this out a bit.
All right. Well, is anybody? Jerry says he's got a fog machine. Oh my gosh.
I was just going to say that. We were talking about the disco ball being hard to beat, but I mean, once you throw a fog machine in there, I mean,
I've got a fog
it's
machine.
game over.
Yeah. All we need next is to see Jerry Brown dressed up in one of those John Travolta
70s outfits. Yep.
bits, and
That would be funny.
That would be a video.
yeah, you should do that, Jerry. It'd probably go viral. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions about anything? Let's see. Who was it? It was Paul Desmond, and I don't see him out there in the chat. He was the one that asked me, or was asking a question on the Facebook group about how far apart to space the drivers and stuff like that. And that's why I did that Facebook Live the other day, which that's still on there. If you want to scroll down far enough, you can watch that. It's about 15 minutes or so. Like I said, just ignore my spaghetti bunch of wires under there because it's pretty messy. But I've got some blue painter's tape wrapped around some of the wires with a number on it so that I know what it is, which pin it goes to. Pretty sad, I know, but hey, like I said, being a neat freak has never been my strong suit. I'm always more about getting it going. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's how I roll. I don't see any other questions out there unless give them a minute. Yeah, Jerry, I definitely watched that video for sure. And in fact, it's been quite a while since old Jerry Brown's put out a video, I think. Can't even remember the last one he put out. It might have been the one with the disco ball. I don't know. Yeah, some people are talking about stain or painting and stuff like that. I would probably recommend. Most people, I think, plan on prettying them up and painting them or something like that. But I would kind of recommend, unless you just live someplace where it's not, and I don't know, it's pretty much humid everywhere, I think. Put something on them, a stain or, some paint or something to help seal stuff, or some clear or something. But I never did put any clear on mine. I stained it that red mahogany because I had a bunch of it that I'd had around for a while, a big can of it. And that's pretty much it. Humidity in Central Georgia says you better finish it, so I'm spraying lacquer. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt. Put something on it. All right. I don't see any more questions. Let's see. Dave Matthews says mine is spar bar. Yeah, if you can do that, that's the best stuff right there. At the very least, shoot a couple coats of polyurethane. Yeah. That's a good plan. But, and I hope everybody remembers too, though, that, and I see people talk about this all the time, and I kind of disagree with most of them, but it's plywood. So, yeah, it's wood, and it will move, but it will not move like, pine or, regular wood. It's plywood. So it's designed to be stable, and it's not going to move nothing like what a lot of people think. They go, oh, well, it's wood, plywood's wood, it's going to move. No, it don't. I'm sorry. At least not here in 90% humidity Georgia, it don't. So, yeah, delaminate. Well, if you get it, I can't, you can't stack anything. When I stack those skeletons, when I cut the kits and stack them outside, by the time I put them on that little wagon and wheel them around in my fire pit, and usually by the time I've, go to throw them in the fire pit, they all fall apart because they've been out in the weather and stuff like that. But if it's in a reasonably controlled, a garage or something like that, you'd probably be okay. Mark's got kind of a extreme situation because one, he lives in Oregon where it rains all the time, and then the other thing is he's out in a shed, and I don't think you got any insulation in that thing, if I remember right. So it's just it's almost like being outside with just a cover on it, almost, I would guess. But yeah, so and being in Oregon too is out there. You get a lot of rain. All right, I don't see anybody asking any questions at all. No questions about aluminum. No questions about how to win a guitar. No questions about anything. So
I finally found
he said that's funny.
I finally found the Colossus build. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up here.
All right, go ahead and screen share it and talk through it a little bit, because there are probably some people out there in the chat that's new enough that have never seen it.
All right.
Let me lock it on you. You ready to go?
Just about. Yeah, I'll go ahead. All right. Let's see here. Let me switch the camera over here. Okay. Screen share. And switch to this, switch to this, and switch to this. So this is basically the one that I built. And if hang on, let me play a little bit of it here. I mean, it's muted, but on the top I put Colossus, but the rest of the machine, as soon as I bring it down, it's a vertical CNC table. It will run vertically and has run vertically. Hang on, I had a little pin that I had to take out because it could also run at multiple positions. I could stop it anywhere along that track. And so there's the, this is before I got the screws on it. This is while I was still building it. I have to. That's
why he's got the clamp on the C boxes. There's no bleach.
Exactly.
Exactly. Flop around. So.
But basically, this is my Gatton CNC. I'm very happy with the with that. It's called what's the name of that blue called? I forgot the name of the blue, but it's a beautiful blue, and it's if you see it live, it's less of a purplish blue, and it's more of a deep, like a navy blue, like a Gatton blue. And the rest of it is just raw wood. I mean, eventually I might finish it, but after this, I did put the spoil board, and I did finish it, and I did carve a couple projects, and right now it's in its vertical position. Let me.
Todd HCNC says it looks like Petty blue, like Richard Petty blue.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, let's see. Here, I'm about to push it down now. So
looks like Ford blue to me.
Yeah. So there's the here it is in the vertical position. The only thing I have left to do, which I got involved on my project, on my property project, so it kind of took a back seat. The only thing I have left is to attach to the gantry springs or pulleys. I've already got the design and all the parts. I just, like everything else, got to get around to it. But it will run, as long as I run it less than 50 inches per minute, it will run vertically. Anything more than that, and it racks in the vertical position. In the horizontal position, as it was originally designed, I mean, when it's not in the vertical position, because I can also run it in this position, which, sorry, hang on a second. Let me, I can also run it. Let's see if I stop it here. No, I guess I didn't. Trying to get it to, well, there's a midpoint position there, which I find that to be the most comfortable. Again, I could run it at 50 that way, and you could easily put. I mean, it's 64. Wait a second. I'm sorry. It's 80 inches wide. That's rail to rail. The actual surface is somewhere in the 68, I believe, or 64 or 68 inches wide, and 60 inches high. I have 62 inches, and I could go, obviously, if it's in the vertical position, I could stick in a 4x8, do half of it, and then flip it around, however awkwardly. If it's in the horizontal position, it's a lot easier for me to pull it out and pull it in if I had more room, which obviously I don't, because I barely have room to walk when it's in the down position. But this is eventually going in the new shop, and I really enjoy it. In the horizontal position, it works fantastic. In the vertical position, all I need is a little bit of cantilever, because that's the only reason it racks, is that you're looking at 70 pounds of gantry pulling on those screws, and if you do it too fast, perhaps a little tweaking and a little bit of if I make it a little more precise, but really all I have to do is counterbalance it, so I won't have to worry too much about that. But yeah, I'm very happy with this build. I'm happy with the way it turned out, and the main reason I did this is because I wanted to see if I could. It's nothing more than that. And by the way, when in the vertical, changing bits is well, here's the thing. The beautiful thing about the vertical position, and let's say when I have it in the full vertical, I'm about to, here we go. Let me put it here. In the full vertical position, as you can see, I'm about as high as the, it's at my eye level, the bits. I mean, you see the gantry right over here. I mean, where it holds the router assembly is right there next to me. It's much easier than leaning over a table, believe it or not. In the vertical position, obviously I'd have to bring it toward me, and it's just as easy because I have the table nice and high. I certainly wouldn't lean over a 6-foot table, but I am quite happy with the build. And what you haven't seen is I actually built I really got to film that a video of it showing it off. On top of this, I actually built with the machine. I based on some design. I think it might have been Marius Hornberger. Someone designed a drag chain, and I just enlarged it. And I mean, it's something like 1.5 inches by 3 inches, because I got a lot of just because I went crazy. But it's made out of 1/4-inch plywood, and I'm very happy with the thing, with the drag chain.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, let me get off screen sharing here if I can.
So that's the big Colossus.
That's the big Colossus. I enjoy it. I mean, what I did was I took a couple of garage door rails, and I bought some garage door rollers and bolted some 2x4s onto some studs, and that's it. And that's basically it. I mean, well, it's not quite that simple. I had to find the pivot points and everything, but short of that, that's pretty much all that I did there.
Yeah, Dave Clemens asking, how does everyone get the Gatton CNC letters in the gantry? Some folks already had a CNC, or they knew somebody that had a CNC that would do it, and then other people, I think, have taken. I want to say Jerry Brown or somebody cut a logo and put it. I think it's his logo, not mine. But if you cut it with something thin enough, there's enough room for the where that gap between the front plate and the front of the gantry. So if you cut it out of something real thin, or you could put vinyl letters on there or something if you wanted, or you don't have to put anything really.
I've got mine down.
I'm a little partial to the guys who go that extra step and put Gatton CNC somewhere on it like that, because I mean that's what it is. It's a Gatton CNC, so I always like to see them putting the brand on it like it should be.
I got mine down in between the little bearing holders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a neat place for it. Jerry Brown said, I cut them out and nailed it on. There you go. So that's how they're doing it, Dave. But I think most of the ones you see where it's engraved in there, like Hobby's case, he had he's got a Cam Master as well, so he had it. But other people either had, a lot of folks had built the old shoestring thing, so they used that to do it for the Gatton, and then other folks knew somebody that had it or took it somewhere or whatever. I don't know. Poly CNC with my logo. Yeah. Mark says he carved them on the inside of the uprights, and because at first I wasn't putting it on them at all, and then I thought, well, I need to put a brand on there, so I started doing the outside of the uprights, and then Mark says, well, I'm gonna put it on the inside, and then after that, I now ship them with it carved on both the inside and outside of the uprights.
Yeah, and some people have actually built the entire CNC and then went ahead and I mean, well, most people don't glue up the box together. Some people go crazy and glue it up. You don't really need to. I mean, the way it's designed. And then they'll take another board identical in size as the front after they have the machine built, do it, and then take it apart and put it back together. It's not that hard. It doesn't take that long.
Yeah,
I would
never bother doing it though.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
I don't know if everybody else does this. They probably don't. But on my machine, the front and the back of the gantry has that on there. I put Gatton CNC on the back of it too. So I don't know why, because I'm never having a video camera back there to where it would show, but and plus the drag chain covers some of it up. But yeah, I had it on the front and back of mine. So all right, let's see. We're probably getting long-winded here. It's almost 9:30. We've talked about all kinds of stuff tonight. Like I said, folks, if you got project pictures, send them to me. We'll show them off next week. If you've got machine build pictures, you want to show off, send them to me. I'd love to see that. I love seeing build pictures, especially the completed, the completed build when it's sitting there all painted up or stained or whatever they've done. It's always interesting to see how people run the drag chain, and because like I said, they're all Gatton CNCs, but there's probably no two of them that are that much alike, because everybody does their own thing, and that's all part of the purpose for that kit is, you can make it a little wider, you make it a little narrower, you can build the table as deep as you want, and within the limitation of the lead screw pretty much. But it's a very variable, flexible design, I guess. And that's all done on purpose. That's what I wanted to make, was something where people could kind of do it the way they wanted. And that's the downside to the Garage Works is, you buy a Garage Works, it is what it is. You can't make it bigger or longer or anything like that. But when you do these plywood kits, you can really, really do it. I don't know if I've seen pictures of anyone, but somebody that wanted to do, for example, like wanted to build one and all they wanted to do was guitar stuff. I mean, you could make one long, skinny one.
Well, that's one of the projects I have. I mentioned it before, and that's one of the projects that I am planning on doing is a specific Gatton CNC where all I need is the gantry and a dedicated, the gantry section, and rather than a table, it's going to be a rotary axis, and it's going to be a dedicated CNC lathe. And I mean that's like you said, there are so many configurations. You could just anything you want to come up with.
Yeah, Larry Duggar says some people even ride their Gattons. Yeah, I know two folks that have. Right, Jerry? To do base necks, yeah. Yeah, you got enough length to do those. All right, well, I guess we're going to get out of here. Thank you all. We've had a good, 50 or 60 folks watching. If you like the show, be sure and leave a thumbs up on the way out. I usually forget to say anything about that, but I do appreciate those. If you enjoyed the show, if you're still hanging around, you might like something about it. I don't know. But we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week to give away this thing or a random drawing. However, you gonna be around next week? I probably won't remember it by next week.
Let's see. Next week, yes, I will be here next week.
Okay.
We'll see you next
week. I can never remember.
It's the following week. The following week, I'll be on a cruise, and the week after that, I'll probably still be on the cruise, and the week after that, I'll be at the property. So.
Okay. Well. I always forget, and then I'll just send you the link anyway, and if you're there, yep. And if not. But anyway, this is one I'm going to give away next week. Like I said, if you've got a special kind of plate you want me to put on it, I can easily swap the plate, put whatever you want on it. This one's, let's see, this is one with a walnut neck. It's pretty. Some of these I almost hate to give away. It's got strap buttons, got your volume control. It does have a disc piezo hot glue to the bottom of the plate. It's got a floating bridge. Got a little banjo twangy sound to it because of I guess they call these license plate resonators. Got a, let's see, this is the poplar fretboard with, these are all walnut inlaid fret markers. It's a nice one, little 3-stringer tune, GDG, and we'll be giving that away. I bought the other day a bunch of boxes. I had to order some boxes. I had one for that first guitar from something I'd got from Amazon or something, but I bought a bunch of boxes just for shipping these guitars. So anywho, we'll give that away next week. Should be fun. So make sure you're watching. If you entered, make sure you're watching, because you got to be watching live when we call out your name. You got to be in the chat there where you can holler at us and let us know. I guess that's it.
Mark
No.
wants to know if you need more boxes.
I don't yet, Mark, and I feel bad because I haven't even built one out of any of those boxes, but I'm fixing to, because, you know, I've built these kind of boxes. I got all of those out of the way, and I bought those a long time ago and stuck them in my shop, forgot about them. And then when I found them, I'm like, all right, let me knock all these out. So I got those 6 guitars with those boxes. You know, when I've done, you know, 3, 4, 5 different shapes, like, you know, out of the stuff like that. And other than when I'm doing one special for somebody, I'm probably not going to do any of those. I'm going to start. I've got a couple of cigar boxes picked out that I'm going to. In fact, I may try to work on them the next few days here. But I appreciate those, and we'll try to start using those up. And I'll still be doing the license plate things too, because I've got my, you know, the whole thing that started all this was once I started getting people sending me all these plates, I kind of made it a personal goal to build one from every state, you know, in the U.S. And I'm still missing a few license plates, but I'm not even bothering trying to get people. I think some people are still looking for me, different plates. I know I'm missing, you know, stuff like Rhode Island. I don't think I have a New Mexico, stuff like that. But anyway, I'm not even worried about that because I've got plenty to keep me busy building those. So I'll still be knocking out those every once in a while. And I guess that's it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Javi, for popping in here. Thank you, Jim Sanicola. Good to see you again. We'll look for you again next week. Trevor, same thing for you. Thank you for joining us. And I guess
Thanks for having me, Dave.
That's going to be it. And we're out, I guess. Everybody have a great weekend and good night.
Have a great week, all. Good evening.